This is News at Prime. Let's get into this conversation now. The South African Human Rights Commission calling for social harmony. It says Heritage Day plays an important role in promoting national unity and forging inclusivity. Let's speak now to the South African Human Rights Commissioner, Professor Tshepo Madlingozi, who talks to us from Johannesburg this evening. Professor, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. I just want to extrapolate from your statement one line where you say Heritage Day provides an opportunity to reflect on the meaning of diverse cultural identity. Please expand on that a little bit.
No, good evening to you and to your listeners. Happy Heritage Day. Now, of course, the question of heritage is a question of historical justice. You will know that for centuries, Black people, indigenous people in Africa, their cultures, their tradition, their heritage had been suppressed. So we affirm Heritage Day as a matter of historical justice. But even today, there are a lot of people that feel that their cultures are suppressed, they're subjugated, they're even invisibilized. So we are saying that this day should not just be a day for brides, a day for wearing colorful clothes. It should really be a day where we reflect on what is a diverse society and really affirm the fact that South Africa is a rich tapestry of cultures.
Now, you say certain cultural groups feel marginalized. Who are these groupings and why do they feel that they are not part of South Africa, or at least are not included in this rainbow nation, if you will?
I can just give you two examples. One example is the Khoi and the San people. For many years, we have been working with the Khoi and the San people who, number one, feel that their traditional leaders, their traditional kings, do not have the same recognition as other indigenous leaders. Number two, in the South African languages, 12 languages, the Khoi and the San languages are not them. But also when it comes to issues of land, there are a lot of people such as the Bahlubi people who also have some claims that they feel that have been, not taken seriously. You also have other historically minority groups such as the Rastafari people who have been in Africa for a long, long time and who in South Africa we have hundreds and thousands of Rastafari people. They come to us complaining that their ways of living continue to be criminalized, continue to be marginalized, and that their sacrament, their herb, cannabis, matekwane, continue to be, something that is deemed to be illegal.
Let's talk about hate speech for a moment, because this remains a thorn which continues to divide people at times along racial lines. Your mandate around such utterances, because they are becoming more and more visible on the social media spaces.
Yes, social media has been very good in terms of democratizing discourse where it has challenged legacy media, so-called legacy media. It is very good to see young people pushing the envelope, really being robust. But we seek to remind everyone that the right to freedom of expression is limited. You cannot propagate hate speech. You cannot incite violence. And this year alone, my office has dealt with a number of hate speech cases. You'll remember the case of Mr. Hoos, the former DA MP. You'll recall the case with Mr. Notabaloy, hate speech against white people, the open chat, the podcast, against colored people, the case against Mr. Malema, which we took to court and we were successful against Mr. Malema. And as we have indicated, we also have the intention to take Minister McKenzie to court for hate speech. So hate speech, which is not simply speech that is hateful, it is speech that is meant to demean, to propagate hatred, and there's no place for such in the new South Africa.
I can't move on from this subject matter without asking you about the status of the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie. You've just mentioned that case now. And today is one of those where he presides over such important days in our country. Where are things, and do you believe that he owes the country an apology, or you feel that perhaps he can only do that if and when forced by a court?
No, the Human Rights Commission, we are a constitutional body. We hold the executive and everyone accountable. We have said to the Minister McKenzie that, number one, the minister needs to take down the tweets that had resurfaced. We reminded the minister that the fact that the tweets were made 10 years ago, 15 years ago, does not matter. As long as the tweets are out there, the harm continues. We've asked the minister to make an unconditional apology. The minister, through social media, through media, has said that he's not going to apologize. Therefore, in line with our mandate, in line with the powers that are bestowed upon us, we have said that we will be taking the minister to the Equality Court, where we are asking the court to declare that the post taken in context constitute hate speech, that the minister must take them down, must undertake not to utter such words again, and to, apologize. We remind everyone, politicians, leaders, that they've signed an oath of office to respect and to affirm the Constitution. And as a Human Rights Commission, we expect leaders to have much more obligation in terms of respecting the Constitution and also being the thought leaders, the torchbearers in leading us to a society that is very tolerant and that is harmonious.
Very briefly on this matter, if ultimately forced by a court to take down those tweets from his social media feed and he issues the unconditional apology that you are looking for, will he still have credibility as a minister, you think?
Well, we don't step into that space. Our space is holding everyone accountable to the values of the Constitution. And, we expect everyone to, when they've made mistakes, the use of the K word, the Constitutional Court has been very clear. That word is unutterable and no one must use that word in jest, as a joke, as satire, as political speech. It's not allowed. And therefore, for us, it's a violation of the Constitution, and that's where our mandate ends. That's where we seek to hold the executive and everyone accountable.
Finally, we opened this conversation by you calling on the country to at least strive for social harmony in the country. And in your statement, you take this further because you say it begins with the provision of running water and other basic services. This is a very contentious area right now. I can't tell you how many communities have been out in the streets asking for water because they've been deprived for so long. Is this a powder keg, you think? Is this what is going to make communities rise up more and more? The failure to deliver basic services?
Absolutely. We recently released our State of Human Rights report, where we say out of the 7,000 complaints that we receive and that we deal with, Section 27, water, healthcare, food, those are the complaints that we receive the majority, of complaints about. And we say that the failure of the local state to provide basic services, the fact that a lot of municipalities are dysfunctional, means that ordinary citizens are not enjoying the fruits of democracy. And therefore, we conclude that report by signaling a warning that the failure to provide water, electricity, healthcare is a grave threat to constitutional democracy. So you are quite right. Right now, we have about 2,000 protests every year. That's how many protests a day, if you think about how many days of the year there. So it's not a powder keg. It is here now where communities are saying we are rising up because we're not enjoying the fruits of democracy. So as a Human Rights Commission, we continue to hold the executive accountable. We continue to urge all of us to make sure that people have received the basic rights that are there in the Constitution.
Tshepo Madlingozi is the professor and indeed the commissioner of the South African Human Rights. Thank you very much for your time.